Wow. This is the first time we've ever had a part two. And do you know why we have a part two on this program?
Why?
Because, wow, that's a lot of fucking smoke. That didn't come from the joint. Look how much smoke. It's never been this smoky in here. That's a hell of a joint.
That's one
Do you know what we're smoking tonight? We're smoking strawberry cake.
Oh. It's cakey, huh?
It is cakey, but that's not, I think that's the smoke machine. I don't think that that's,
Yeah, it looks a little crazy in here.
and like the smoke machine, if I could see through the smoke of this program, you guys would know that I don't think we've ever cleaned our plate on this program. So if you guys didn't know, this is the HoneyComb Hideout, and we're a metal band, and this is our page, and we're streaming on a bunch of places right now. We're streaming on Twitch, we're streaming on YouTube, and we're also streaming on Facebook. So that's the best place to see this program, but you can also hear it via Buzzsprout. So it's also, you can hear just the audio of it. So that's just to let everybody know where to find this program. And it happens every hump day.
Wednesday, let me.
See that, 7 p.m., although today we're late, but this is a good thing because last week we were early. It's like
we were a whole hour early last week.
Right, so think about it like this is an entire episode. It's like an eclipse.
Yeah.
It's an eclipse.
It's an eclipse of content. And one thing that we've eclipsed here is the members of the live cast. There's usually another person here. But we are a rock and roll band, a hard rock band, a metal band. I don't even know. We're not even sure. I think we're calling us a duet fronted band now because of all the stigmas surrounding being anything else.
A duet fronted band?
That's right, because me and Melissa duet better.
Ooh.
No, but that, there's two of stop. But this is a conversation based live cast, and basically we can't represent the entire band. There's 6 of us. And with Lexi, there's 7. With Eric, there's 8. I mean, we could go on. With Glenn, there's 9.
Really.
Huh?
We're a community band, really.
We are a family band. And we're not just a band. We're also streamers. Johnny's a model.
You're a model? Woohoo! That's all you have on that fancy hat.
No, what? So Johnny, if you didn't know, Johnny's a ring model.
You're a ring model?
Bars, did you know that? You didn't know that? Johnny is a ring model.
I did not know that.
And I don't mean like boxing ring. I mean like the kind of rings you put on your fingers or your toes.
You need to tell the story.
No.
No, what I'm trying to explain I don't want him to tell any stories about this.
Wait, why not? I need to know like how this happened.
There's no story.
Trust me, that's why he's hiding his face like that
why
from the
are you
camera.
hiding?
Notice he's not facing the crowd.
Yeah.
John,
Is this a
as an
bad
entertainer,
story?
you've been in the band for 8 years. You know to face the crowd?
Yes.
Is this a bad story?
It's not bad.
No.
It's just not good, Lexi.
It's a story.
Put it this way, when John was younger, he had the opportunity to be an aspiring young wrist model. but he gave up his life of being a famous wrist model, and now he's going to take it to the grave. Look at him. And he knows I'm not even lying because he was offered this huge opportunity to show his wrists. But because of his beliefs in body parts, particularly his wrists, he's against all wrist models.
What is wrong with
So
you?
if you can't even offer him money or jewelry or anything. If you offer him,
What if he made you something like special?
I don't know,
like
but
for your
it's so
birthday?
it's so layered that this man will not even accept bracelets from other human beings because of the way that he feels about it.
What if I made
However,
you a bracelet?
Doesn't matter. If it depends on who you are. It's all you can ask him off camera. But so now he's living his life as a famous lower budget ring model. And that's why he doesn't have any rings on right now.
Low budget, like ring pop.
He's just not
low
allowed to. He's
budget?
just not allowed to have them here on the program.
I got one.
That doesn't count.
Okay.
This isn't the
What
whole
an
band.
interesting time.
To the left of me is I would like to. I got to make you sound really prestigious today. You are the head of merchandise. You are also you're the co-pilot of every Sunday 7 p.m. of Swarm TV with Melissa Wolf.
Yes.
What else do you do here?
I also help gather
She helps.
articles. And I'm also the band assistant. I am Melissa's assistant, the lead singer's assistant. So lead singer's assistant, band assistant, article finder.
So basically that means we're hiring.
And I'm also the co-host of the Metal Honeys podcast. I'm Lexi Swarm. Hi.
And her hair matches her microphone.
Yeah, we're twinning right
Johnny's the bass player in Sepsiss.
What's up, my dudes?
And he's played bass. How long have you been playing? We say 8. We've been saying 8 years for 10 years.
I first picked up the bass when I was 16, and I fell in love with it ever since. So from
We have to have a Johnny. We have to have a Johnny episode.
Yeah. where you
Put a
tell
1 in
us
the
your
chat
story.
if you want us to interrogate. I mean, if you want us to interview Johnny for a whole 2-hour period. We have.
Are you planning this
No,
out
listen.
right
we
now?
have we have
12
hot
years.
lights in the back. We could, you know what I mean? We'll turn up the light. We could turn up the lights.
Johnny.
Everybody knows that we are a multi-genre, multi-layered, multi-generational family band. And where I don't even know what the fuck we are anymore as far as what type of intensity of rock and roll we are, but I'm pretty sure we have of rock and roll
music man.
origin. And yeah, and of course we are also internet influencers and conversationalists. God, that sounds good. I write a lot of the music here, but we all have different. I'm not allowed to say anything's good. You know, that's not popular, but it's not.
It's not popular to
No.
to like something.
Not anymore. It's not on the internet.
No, it has to be everything.
Didn't know that?
Yeah, everything has to be bad.
Listen, you're supposed to be generationally genuine. But what I suggest is that, I think you're growing up too fast, Lex.
Wait, what?
You're-
Too fast?
You're starting to sound like us, the old guys.
Really?
Yeah, no, you really are.
I
You have
don't
too many.
think
Yeah,
so.
right. You have too many traditions. Throw it all away. Let's get impulsive.
Well, I mean,
Flip tables like Geo. Don't flip this table, but flip a table that's not in this building.
I can't flip the merch table.
No, you can't flip that table. Don't flip that table.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why she
there's
can't flip the
equipment.
table because she's got one
I,
arm.
I was gonna say I'll
flip that
find you a
table.
cardboard one.
She's got one arm. You know this lady's not flipping no
Hey.
tables.
Find you a
Damn.
cardboard
Yeah, I
table you
can't
can
flip
flip.
the table.
Well, basically what Lexi was trying to tell you is that she does so much that we're hiring. And John's been playing for Sepsiss for a long time. So, but, I do want to, there's fine print here. Not all the opinions expressed on this particular live cast is the expression or opinion of John Pemberton, who also appears on this live cast.
We miss you.
So normally I do a disclaimer and I say something like, whatever I say on here for the next couple hours, please don't yell at my girlfriend Melissa. But today is a little bit different. Anything that I say here today, inbox John Pemberton.
Say hi.
So if I happen to irritate anybody here, I know that's the big thing, is like, I guess, getting me wound up on the program. I wonder if that's scripted or not.
I don't know.
I think...
But say hi to JP.
I was going to say, so usually and normally when we have issues here, or what we call the support inbox here at Sepsiss, I usually tell everybody to take pictures of their private parts and send them to Cam Loud, the other guitar player. And then he collects, that's where he collects his assorted varieties of belly buttons and ankles. Smoke! I didn't want to get too crazy about openers today, because we break the whole live cast down into chunks. This would be the sound check chunk, where I tell everybody who we are and where to find us, and then I remind everybody that's on YouTube to make sure that they're subscribing and they're hitting bells. And that's when I tell everybody on Facebook, thank you so much for joining us on Facebook. Make sure you hit the likes and the follow buttons and you share this out, because that, I mean, it's important, especially for musicians that are doing this kind of work. This is a major medium for us to actually get our music out to people, and creating conversations is something that we've taken advantage of early. We're the band that gets all the band likes. We're the Facebook band. We're also the band that's been going live when live was created. Somebody hit that red button. I think it was Bars.
A red button.
We didn't know what live was. We just hit it one day. We're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Took me a second.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, like going live. That
Yeah,
was never
the
a
red
thing.
button. I was thinking, like,
That was never a thing.
literally, did he just hit a red
So
button?
thank you for everybody that's and thank you to everybody that's been some of you have found us on Google, some of you have found us on Facebook. You guys don't know that if you just go to the top of the page, that you can leave us reviews. You know, so if you've been to a show, if you watch this program, if you've heard our music before, we are a band. You know, naturally we love people to listen to music, but whatever brought you here is good enough for us. Lexi,
Yeah.
I heard that we're having some shows coming up.
Finally.
Did you see the post today? Did you see the post today that me and Melissa put up, and we told everybody to name their state or where they would like us to try to come and play or visit? Yo, John, it was overwhelming, man.
Yeah. Go
Yes, go ahead.
I have not gotten a chance to look at that post yet.
Well, if you ever,
I am, however, going after and going through and whatnot. And
this is what I'm going to tell you. We are a very blessed band, and I want to thank everybody out there for the amount of energy that people put into, like, just our posts, man. I mean, there's a lot. Social media is tough to come by. For a lot of bands, it's really difficult to get to have a voice on social media, to have a presence on social media. Even if as small as ours feels like some days, or as small as, you know, our career arc, you know, it feels at times. And I don't just mean us when I say we. I mean independent working smaller artists. When I say us, I mean Sepsiss is including in that. You know, at times, you know, it's, you know, you drop a piece of music or you drop content, and then you get your buzz, you get your traffic, and all the great things that come along with that. And then what, right? So as a musician, as a painter, as an actress, you finish the movie, and then what? You're done with the painting. So I don't think that that's something that everyday society they're dealing with all the time. You know, it's a different type of challenge and pressure to take on. It's like mountain climbers, you know. And in today's world, unlike 30 years ago, you had to be a trained professional climber to climb a mountain, right?
You have to do it for real.
yes.
You know, but with technology, and, you know, if you have enough money, you know, now an amateur can buy into technology or hire a professional to climb professional mountains without having the education or the experience that professional climbers would need to, for the strength and the ability,
To achieve.
to do it on their own. And a lot of that comes down to work, and practice. And people today, that's a difficult thing to have. So, of course, we have this luxury. We'll talk about this. And the convenience of today. Now, the mountain hasn't changed, really, right? Not in terms of mountain climbers and mountains, right? In the physical world.
Right.
But what about the world we live in now? So back when, in order to be a professional musician, you might have to know music theory. You had to know to read or write music or play an instrument. Or at least back then you had to hit notes. There were no auto tunes. There
Yeah.
were no.
There was nothing.
There were no.
fixing
We're
your
going to talk
mistake.
about that later when we talk about AI, about the convenience and the luxury of having these tools. So in today's world, with singing and songwriting and even painting now, and we have tools and we have tools and we could become educated to learn how to engineer on computers. And now an amateur person can take on a professional climb without having to learn how to climb a real mountain. So in the digital world, unlike the physical world, where in the physical world you have technology and you have a budget to pay a professional to take you on a professional climb, that mountain still stays the same. It's, however high it is. So you got motherfuckers that could never, you got people that could climb K2. You got people who can climb Everest that never would have the ability. But with technology and having the budget to do so, you can visit space. You can come out with a record. You can go to a big festival. You can be in a rock and roll band, and have 1,200 followers in a single out and go play some of the biggest festivals in the country. I'm just telling you now. So what I'm saying is the professional mountain hasn't gotten any higher. It just means there's more climbers on that mountain. So when more people go, yes, it's a great thing that to have bands like Sepsiss that are discoverable. Social media's made that happen. Spotify's made that happen. Technology's made that happen. Luxury's made that happen, right?
Yeah.
Having the lights on, having the electricity's made that happen for us. Whoop-de-doo, right? But what I'm saying is, just remember that it's a double-edged sword. Then in the digital world, when you add in all of these tools and all this technology, that professional, what we feel is professional, unlike a real mountain, that starts to change. See, in the real world, a real physical mountain never changes its structure. Your body never appears to change. You still got your real muscles. You got to hire a professional to get up that mountain.
Yeah.
You got to have the tools and the technology to get up that mountain. Whereas now, anybody can be a DJ. You don't have to go through the professional climb. Anybody can be a model. You don't have to go through a professional climb. But not everybody's a violinist. Because in order to be a violinist, you have to take that professional climb.
That's one thing I can say is as a musician, I feel almost cheated out if I was depending on AI.
Well, we haven't even gotten there
get
yet,
better?
sir. I honestly haven't even gotten there yet.
Yeah, he's just talking like us as people now.
I'm
All we
just
have
saying,
to
I haven't
say
even
I'm a
opened
DJ
that up.
And just get a DJ
I'm
thing and just
yes.
do whatever on some application and
Yes.
you're a DJ now.
Yes,
now
I'm
you
not.
don't
This
have to
isn't.
go to college to learn how to be a
for,
DJ.
for anything
Before
really,
you
like
had to.
Yes, sir.
like musician or anything that you do, because music is what I do, I'd always feel like the authenticity is missing. Like if I'm going to
Missing
climb
from
a
what?
if I'm going to climb a mountain and I'm going to climb said professional mountain that no one can go over.
I mean, we can get into that too, but people that got the money to race, John, people that got the technology and the money to race are the motherfuckers that race, John.
Absolutely,
You can tell me how passionate you are about the finish line all you want to. You can tell me how it was back in the old days when we lit oil lamps.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how we used to burn the house down with the motherfuckers. You know, there's the good old days, and isn't and that we'll talk about
the
that.
good old days.
We'll talk about that. But I'm just what I'm talking about is what we're doing now here with these people here and now. And when you talk about in terms of Sepsiss and you talk about the convenience and the luxury and who we are and what we're doing and able to take a professional climb, if it wasn't for the technology, before we unpack this, before we unwrap this, if it wasn't for technology, if it wasn't for modern music, if it wasn't for guitar tuners, if it wasn't for electricity, sir, you wouldn't be playing heavy metal. So there's a certain amount of, oh man, let's kill,
At what point?
Okay, so, before we get into that, what are the openers? What do we got today? Because I know we had something Ghost ran.
Yeah, Ghost, they have the new hottest album.
John want to talk about AI so fast, he's going to skip over 10 things. It's hard for him.
Yeah, so Ghost is the band that has the hottest album in metal in 2022. Their album.
For who? Who said that? Loudwire or somebody?
Yeah, based on one of those metal blog thingamajiggies.
Okay, but that, you do look if you look up metal bands on Google, you're only going to find 100 of them. That's just. And
I just find it really interesting how they started out in Sweden, no ties here to the United States, and from them, working. Well, they probably did. But
they have a lot of advertising. That's one thing I will say. And for the people that don't, you hear a lot about people not liking Ghost. Mm-hmm. I just, if you like Ghost, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't like Ghost, because I could say where this is going. If you don't like Ghost, put a 2 in the chat. But I want to add this one thing. I notice a lot of people don't like. You hear of people not liking Ghost, and you hear of people. We saw some talk about MGK, our last episode of how people felt, and I don't know either one of them like that. John, 1 second, homie.
Yeah, no, finish.
I got you, but I'm sorry. Oh, you got a couple 2s? Well, so when the first time I experienced this, you hear about this stuff word of mouth, like people hear about us on social media and technology. That's where I was going with this earlier. Ghost has made a professional climb. All right, so whether or not you feel like it's gimmicky or corny, I think metal, in my personal opinion, Sepsiss, us, I think there's a certain amount of silliness in metal. Just like I do gangster rap, man. There's only so gangster you can be before it gets silly, and I could explain this. You know what I'm saying? I did 12 years in prison with gangs and Nazis and police brutality, and you find a time to laugh at yourself. It gets ridiculous. Being in them atmospheres, you wind up sometimes it be the most silly shit. You never laugh the hardest in your life, because you got to. So metalheads are heavy. Sometimes we come from a dark place. You know what I'm saying? Like gangster rap or other forms of intense music. So the only 2 forms of emotion that I saw on a day-to-day basis that was acceptable in state prison was anger and humor. Did you get what I just said? And that's the same type of stuff that you see in male-dominated aggressive music. There's a direct correlation to that, that we could talk about on another program. But I just want you to think about that. Because in metal, a lot of times, you know, when you're too serious in metal, you got to lighten up. You know what I mean? If you're too passionate, if you care too much about metal, the you know, the remedy for that is making fun of metal. But if you're like me and heavy metal save your life, you know, I don't really make fun of music really often like that, you know. So, you know, there's different intensities and different levels of care going into that. But I just think in terms of Ghost, when you think of Ghost and you think of how most people discover them, it's how most people discover a lot of things these days. It's on the internet, and that's what I meant earlier about, you know, us being able to take a professional climb. And Sepsiss being a very good example of somebody, of a group of people. The music industry doesn't want us. Rock and roll doesn't want nothing to do with us. You see what I'm saying? But we're still, thankfully, because of these machines and because of the internet, we're able to take this professional climb that otherwise you need to be fucking filthy rich to do. And I just want to say thank you to all the people that were in the post earlier. You said you hadn't been there yet.
I haven't.
But before we get into and unpack about technology and AI and everything like that, I think you need to remember, I think we all need to remember, as far as Sepsiss goes, that we make a living doing this.
Absolutely.
And you guys at home that are sending us the bits and the stars and all that, you guys understand that's at nickels and dimes. That is a massive part of our income here at the company, and I don't think that is said enough. That I really thank everybody that spends time with us. You know, not all of the band goes live. I realize that, and there's like a performance and stage part of Sepsiss that's very visible and people understand. But we all do different things here, and we all bring a different value. But there's only a few of us that mail stuff out or that go live or that are working on this. I mean, people tend to look at Sepsiss as, you know, that we're a big team, and we are. But there are departments to that.
Can I say something about that real fast?
Sure.
You know, it's when you hear sex, drugs, and rock and roll, people misinterpret a lot of times what we're going at. I think when we say sex, drugs, and rock and roll, is that this is a lifestyle that we live. There ain't no stopping. It's on stage and off stage. There is no.
I agree with that. There's a 24-hour Sepsiss, and then there's a perceived notion, and people have asked us as a lot of what we do, entertainment on social media. Meaning, is this a part of our real lives? And the answer to that is the best artists that we usually can present you are ones that gave a piece of their real lives. But no, most of everything that you see us do is entertainment. I mean, whether it be reels or whether it be this, or me jumping up in the air and going, we're entertainers. We've always been entertainers. We grew up with, cameras and laptops, and we've always been tech people. We've always been interested in the internet. This is obviously a reflection. A lot of our content is an extension and a reflection past of what we do musically. This is very natural to us. Being on the internet came very natural to me and Melissa because we've always been making a living on the internet. Yeah. So but that's what I was saying earlier. That might be new to Cam. That might be new to you. But
this is second nature.
Right. So there are some people in Sepsiss that do certain things here. There's some people that write music. Not everybody writes music in Sepsiss. There are some people that work on social media. I think it's easy to be misunderstood. If you look at our pages, if you look at our social media, it feels like we're all here doing that. No. We're not. No. If you look at it, you feel like, oh, maybe we're all sitting around writing music. We are not. And that is something to be understood. So there are a few of us that understand what we're doing on social media and with technology and where AI is going and what the internet is doing. And then there's a great percentage of our staff who have no clue what the fuck we're doing. Yeah. That's fair to say. Yeah. Because the people that know what they're doing deserve to get their credit for it.
Absolutely. And that's why. I don't do half the work, and I just know my lane, and I stay in it, and that's the best way you can.
The best way to think about Sepsiss and the professional climb, the professional race and career arc of Sepsiss is to think about it as building a race car.
And you want to build it that best way possible.
And you got a pit crew, and you got sponsors, you got people that slap stickers on it. This is a real race. We're not a 15 album band. We have a course. Most bands, if you ask them what they want to do, they don't know what the fuck they want to do when they grow up. We've had a course. We've had a set amount of goals. We have an itinerary, that's something to completely get on at a whole nother topic. But without losing focus, it's important to understand, John, that we make a living here. Not all of the band does.
Yes.
So when we say thank you to all the people that spend time here with us, that means me, Melissa, Bars, Lexi, we're thanking you guys because we spend a lot of time putting this stuff together. We spend a tremendous amount of time and effort writing the music, and we appreciate everybody, the top commenters and everybody that has understood how important technology has played
Absolutely.
with the band, because it's given us the ability to take a professional climb when nobody else wanted to. And if it wasn't for deputizing our fans, if it wasn't for the very rare few people, we got band members and staff members that don't understand this. We have I'm being serious about this.
Serious.
No, it's...
And when we talk about how much of this is real and how much of it's not, what I'm saying now is 100% authentic. When you find out the value of what happens when people, the human beings, are able to relinquish and have these conversations and challenge these ideas, this is as real as it gets. No. Let's not look on Facebook or Twitch and think that we get an accurate idea of what's going on here. Nobody works harder than Melissa. No way.
Absolutely.
That's to be understood. And if it wasn't for the fans understanding what her mission is, clearly, not all staff members and band members play the background player. That's not real. Some of us are on the front lines, and some of us are in the department. Some of us are in the pit crew. Some of us are making brake pads. Some of us are bringing an astonishing amount of value in all type of different departments. But the ones that you see day to day are on the fucking internet. And that's what we're talking about here today.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
We would not have a chance of people listening to our music. The overwhelming amount of people that came in to the comments when Melissa posted that today, that's what I'm talking about.
There's probably right
Melissa
now,
made a post today, and
so
she said,
many
where would you
comments.
guys like us to come and play music?
I was counting almost 5.
This is what I'm saying. You might be the biggest Berkeley bass player in the world, but in today's modern climb, in today's modern professional climb, whether you own a hot dog stand or you're Ronald McDonald himself, you're hiring, you're firing, you're doing promo codes, you're running advertisement right here on the internet. So what I'm saying is, in nothing we ever done on stage, whether it was a great show, how tuned we were, nothing has ever blessed our career arc in taking the climb like the fans on the internet.
That's real, too.
So before we go and tear apart and trash and talk about holograms and the metaverse and AI and everything else, I want to remind everybody at this table how, not that we've depended on technology, but I feel like Sepsiss is a perfect example of a company and a community that's taken it. For those that have, there are some people in this community that go, oh wow, I see what Tim and Will and Melissa are doing. I'm on board. And there are other people that love the music and love banana split ice cream, whatever. You know what I mean? There's some people that play Halo with us, and there's some people that understand what the mission is, man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter to what frequency or facet that brings you here. Not in the sense of how grateful I am for you to be here.
Just you're here.
I'm just grateful for you to be here. Because if it wasn't for the opportunity to have these gadgets, we wouldn't be able to take this professional climb.
We need technology.
So in terms of Ghost, I'm not knocking Ghost, Because people discover Ghost the same way they discover Sepsiss. And you hear a lot of people talk crap about Ghost, John. But
yeah,
like,
I mean, but you hear the same thing about Nickelback and Metallica, and honestly, at that point, I have to look at it and say they're haters, because there's people out there that have their name out there that I think that
now he sees my point.
that don't
That's
deserve
what
to
I
be
meant
there.
to
But
say.
you have to, I have to take a swallow. They're doing work that obviously I'm not
That's what I wanted you to understand. Not that.
doing. Love them or hate them, it's there.
Right. I mean, if you kick the bucket and you built yourself up to a hologram, I don't know if I could take that away from you. You know, when, in a day where people are complaining about a Pantera reunion, but you know what I mean? If they're getting the blessing by the estate and they're getting a blessing by their families and all that, I mean, if you built yourself up to have that type of reunion, if that's the type of company that you built, I mean, I think it deserves to be celebrated. You know, you're going to have people that celebrate life, through living. And to hold anybody back is to hold them back. People discover, and I don't know what the big deal is about Ghost. You know, there's some people that put in the comments, anybody, if they could tell me why. What is the deal about Ghost? The few Ghost songs that I've heard, I seen a meme about them, and it was they were making like a structural. They were saying like how Ghost makes a song. I thought it was pretty intelligent. But you know, but what, you know, it wasn't like something I would play like each and every day in my car. But I mean, is Sepsiss something you play each and every day in your car? No, but I don't know. You know.
From what I was reading about Ghost and why there's so much buzz and momentum behind them, one of the main reasons is actually his songwriting.
I was gonna say I kind of like the song. I mean, there's some like
That is
progressive
what-
notes in there.
Yeah, that's what's
And,
really driving their band is his songwriting
you know,
and the characters.
If you
of the
turned up the
band.
guitars really loud, and you were a little bit more obnoxious, and you put a girl in there, it'd be a little Sepsiss-y.
They have a very like
the
old
turnarounds and
school
shit.
metal kind of like.
Don't say metal, because everyone's gonna get mad at you for that.
Well, then
That's the big thing. They say that Ghost isn't put a
wait.
put a horns. Even if you like them or not, put a horns in the chat. If Ghost is indeed metal, I love the metal, not metal stuff. All right,
That's so
Go. All right. So my thing
What?
with Ghost is
now he has a thing.
No, you gotta look at it as he is the modern day Ozzy. Love him or hate him.
Well, I
He's
don't
like-
have to look at it like that, but I will look
No,
at
but
it.
that's his sound. He kind
You
of has
think
that.
so?
Yeah, he has that
I don't
keyboard
agree with that.
upscale kind of.
I don't
thing
agree with
going.
that.
That's what it
I
makes
don't know
me
what
think
this
of
man
at
is
least.
talking about.
Like,
Don't put anything in the chat. I can't believe you just compared.
It's hard.
So
rock.
you comparing Ghost to Ozzy Osbourne was like, that was the most fucked up shit I think you could ever have said. That's like
I'm not-
that's
I'm
like
not saying-
Blueface and Goody Mob.
I'm not.
You see how off that is?
I'm not saying that Ghost can take Ozzy's spot. I'm not saying
No,
that.
no, I
at
heard
all.
what you
Two
said.
completely
I heard what you said.
different forms
You said
of
that
rock
they have the
and
same
roll.
sound, and I cannot disagree
can-
with you more. As an engineer,
Yeah.
as a producer, as a
Have you
writer,
listened?
as a guitar player, I disagree with you across as
You
a
need to listen to
vocalist.
their music.
I don't think they sound anything. And then if we're
guess I
talking
need to
about
take
Ozzy
another
as a,
listen.
if we're talking about Ozzy as a, as far as like the projects he's had, making, as a solo artist, absolutely not. I don't.
Completely. You need to go. I think after
I
this
guess, I mean,
program, you
that's-
should go look them
That's
up
kind
real
of how I
quick.
always just looked at him and just like,
You just fucked my whole life up right there. Can we please go? Ghost, I'm sorry. Ozzy, I'm sorry to all of y'all.
The fuck.
I'm sorry to all of them. 5-finger death punch.
what?
I don't know. I just want to make somebody mad. Apparently, they make everybody mad too.
Why
It
is
doesn't
everyone
matter.
getting mad? It's just metal.
I guess they're
No,
just
that's
that metal.
the internet. That's not metal. All right, what do you got? You have no whatchamacallit?
Oh, small topics. Yeah. Do you remember like a few years ago when it was around Christmas time, and everyone would a lot of goth girls would get all dolled up, all gothed out just to go take pictures with Santa and whatnot. I guess that's back for
I've
some
never.
odd
First of all, I feel
reason.
like I'm too old for this group. However, John, if you want to dress up in a gothic, if you want to dress up
No.
in gothic cosplay and sit
What?
with Santa Claus next year,
That
we
I
can
want to
arrange
ask
it.
you, what are your thoughts on that? Because it's kind of like bringing back something that
I don't. Can I be honest? I don't get it. I really don't get
What
it.
do you mean going
I don't
back?
understand what you're talking about. You're saying that
Going back
that
to
there
that was
are
a,
young,
that was a trend.
there's women,
Yes,
legal women,
Yes.
in okay, and women that are of age and
Yes.
okay, and
Yes.
and they want to
Get
go
all-
to the mall.
And take pictures
take
of Santa.
pictures
and this was
of
a
Santa.
trend back in the early 2000s, and it died
Well,
out.
can I tell you something?
And then now it's back.
Going to the mall hasn't been a trend since 2002 at all. Like, people don't go to the mall and buy fucking toilet paper.
No one
I
even
hate to
goes
break
to a
it to you.
mall anymore.
Like, I mean, who goes?
I don't know.
Put a one in the chat if you've been to the mall in the last week and it wasn't a return, and you weren't returning nothing. Gotcha.
and put a 2 if you were returning something.
That's all he had? No. Put a 2 if you dress up in gothic cosplay and go to the mall
Wait.
to hang out.
I guess that
When
trend's
is-
back. What are
It's
your
never been
thoughts
back.
on that?
My thoughts are not
Gothic
on any of that because I'm in my 40s. I'm not allowed to have thoughts on that. Lexi?
What is gothic cosplay? Like they're dressing up as goths?
like
I'm not
don't
buying that.
understand.
like
that
dressing up
English.
as
Bars, help
sis
me.
and
God,
going
my
up
brain
on
cells is
TikTok
burning
and
the
stuff
fuck
like
off.
that.
Right. Like I don't understand.
I don't know. It's weird.
I don't understand.
It was
this
the weirdest
trend.
thing I could find.
See,
How
I
is it
told
a
you.
trend?
I know when Lexi's too old for this shit, we must move on.
I don't understand how this is a trend.
It's
People
not.
go
Lexi,
and
it's
take
not. Don't
pictures
listen
with
to him.
Santa
I
all
don't
the
know.
every year.
I don't know.
I think what Johnny is referring to is a meme that got blew up. It's a family photo, and what happened was
Is it just metal people?
no, it's not even. It has really.
It
It
has
has
nothing
nothing to
to
do
do
with metal per se. What it is it's a group of it's a family photo, and it was 4 kids or 4 people that was dressed up in goth clothing, and they took a picture with Santa. So
Gotcha.
they took that meme and then they applied that to like what was going on. People started doing it. The people that used to live in those times started doing it over. They started going to Santa and dressing up as quote unquote goths. But really they're just dressing up in black and wearing eyeliner. They're not really dressing up goths. It's a certain way to move forward with that. And these people are not goths. They're not. You can't title them that. That's not their description. They're just
Why? You can't title anybody anything.
that's what I'm saying. They're really literally just mocking that
I
meme.
understand.
That's all it really is.
Well,
And
you
then
know,
black people did
mockery.
and this is what I think. You know, people get paid for taking pictures and videos of shit. So I'm not knocking nobody for going to get their motherfucking money.
Go ahead.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I
Like, if I
guess.
was a gothic woman, why not?
Go ahead.
I don't know. I guess I never got understand the.
Johnny,
meme
you should
culture.
try it. You make a reel, make a TikTok.
You're Johnny
Can-
Impact
let's put a
Boop
one.
Boop
Can
is a
everybody put a
meme.
1 in the chat if they want to see Johnny dress up like a gothic woman and run around in the mall?
One in
I
the
personally,
chat.
can you put a 1 in the chat for me,
Put a one in
bro?
the chat.
I got you.
Why not? All right, so we came here today. Let's talk because we only have an hour, and we want to talk about AI chat. Put a yes or no in the chat if you are for or against AI in general. First, are you for or against AI? Like in general. And I do mean like, you know, the type of intelligence that like, you know, robots in the surgeon office. Robot, you know what I'm saying? Heart surgery, brain surgery. I'm robots on you let one robot in, you got to let them all in. All right, so are you for or against? And we're going to get to that whole AI art thing in a moment. Are you for or against?
I'm for AI.
You're for AI. John? Because you got to remember, a couple weeks ago, John was against holograms. He almost told me to turn off Facebook Live. We almost didn't have a job. He was trying to convince all. I was trying to thank all the fans earlier for coming on Facebook and helping us figure out where we're going to play next year. You got John telling me to change the fucking channel. He wants me to not take the professional climb. I had to remind him how hard we were working to be on this fucking thing.
What the hell, Johnny?
All right, so now that you know the truth about your life,
I don't understand it. I'm really either here nor there. But I will say I'm not a big fan of what I've seen.
I love what he said, and that was the most honest thing that I think I've ever heard anybody say about AI when we started the conversation about it. Is he said, I don't understand it. Remember when the internet came out?
Yeah.
Fuck that. Remember when cell phones came out?
Yeah.
And people were like, hey, man, there's going to be a cell phone in every home. And people are like, oh, man, I don't know about all that, bro, you know? And then remember a few years after that, they put cameras in them?
Mm-hmm. And it got crazy.
Hold on. And remember when there were cameras on the toll booth? People were like, oh, man, there's cameras on the toll. And then there was cameras in 7-Eleven. Remember that? And there was cameras in Walmart. Remember that? And then we started taking selfies and everything like that. Remember at the same time, everybody was like, oh, man, like privacy, and they're going to, pretty soon there was all type of fear about there's going to be a camera on every corner. Remember when people said shit like that? Do you guys remember? Be honest. Remember when you heard that one person in the fucking bar, that one person while you were sitting down watching the football game, the basketball game, y'all were having small talk, and he was like, man, it's crazy, man. There's going to be, pretty soon, there's going to be a camera on every street corner. Remember when they said that?
I do.
Fuck every street corner. Every corner.
It's in your pocket.
No, every corner of the room. No, so people talking about, oh man, there's gonna be a cell phone in every home.
There's
now you
more
got
than
rap
that.
songs talking about I got 2 phones. But the point is, how many laptops do you have in your home? How many laptops? Count the amount of devices you have in your home right now. Seriously, and this is all of you at home. The thing is, and now, I mean, you don't go, but you know, a few months before needing a new one of these motherfuckers. The batteries are built into them. They die when they feel like it. You can't. They're making products that can't be repaired. I mean, that's the big problem with what people don't like the electronic cars. It's not just that electronic cars aren't cool and nothing about it. It's that not everyone can have electronic cars.
It's also really expensive to repair them.
Whoa. We can't even get there to repair yet.
Isn't that just fear-based?
The problem is, you can't. It's not effective if only a very small amount of people have them.
Oh yeah. In order for us to do that,
In order
we
for it to
all
make
have
a difference, you can't go fucking green unless we all do it.
Yeah, we'd all have to be in agreement.
You can't have a World Wide Web unless we're all on it. We're not all on the World Wide Web. Only some of us.
So
And only some of us can see certain things. Even on Facebook. It's not even in a town.
yeah, we have a different.
You have a
Facebook on the
very
countries.
limited. This program that's playing right now is only available to a very limited amount of people on planet Earth. It's not worldwide. There's no WW worldwide thing where you can get on. You can't play a game with somebody in Russia tonight.
No.
They have a different internet than us.
Not everybody uses Google. We just think that way. Because we think, so if you're watching right now on Twitch or you're watching on Facebook, it's because that's what you use.
It's just the world we live in.
It's just, that's what I'm saying. So if you know what I mean, like if you're wearing a Santa hat, it's because you've had that product in your life. You understand those characters, and he came down your chimney and stuck a carrot up your ass or whatever it was. But I'm saying though, don't feed the reindeer, Johnny. The point I'm trying to make is that, this is a product idea. So you said that you're so far for or against.
I don't know it, so I'm not really for it.
Okay. I got to at least hand it to this man. Most people don't know what AI is. So that's why I go back and I was taking a look at the internet. And I was taking back, and you look back at these products when they first came out, and people talked about cell phones. And they said, oh, there's going to be a cell phone in every house. And computers were another one. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Computers were another thing. I mean, I was around I had a Commodore, I had Atari, I had a TurboGrafx 16. It was big in my house. I had uncles, aunts, brothers that had interest in these things,
Yeah.
So luckily for me, I had older kids in the house that were interested in technology. So in the 80s, I was like, yo, let me see that. Let me see the controller. As soon as I was tall enough, I was getting my hands in it. Because that's what I seen. That I learned it from from the adults and from the older people. So, but in a sense, we are the first people. No one's learning it. We're not learning this from anybody. We're the first people to go live.
Yeah.
We're the first people to vape. Like, why is vaping so dangerous or whatever? It's not,
we don't know
it's
it.
not that it is or that it isn't really. It's that we kind of don't know what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the lack of an experience, and it's the lack of education about AI is what I think freaks people out. And you see that same type of anxiety when you look back on cable TV. When I was a kid, if you watch TV too much, it rots your brains. You know what I'm saying?
You watch
but
TV,
in that sense, TV definitely encouraged me to give my kid an iPad. I'm one of the first parents that didn't know that giving their kids a device all day would be harmful. Don't worry, my kid's completely sane, and he's like a really good kid. I'm really proud of him, actually. But what I'm saying is, a lot of time we spent together was around these devices and around screens and around, you know what I mean? A lot of me and my son's relationship growing up, I guess to some degree it could be actually a binding thing. But it actually allowed us to have a stronger relationship, But we did have that age where he discovered GTA and everything was the F word.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So because people, we learn from these devices now. But I've always said that like social media, there's some apps and there's certain things on the internet, like adult sites, that I think like a driver's license.
Absolutely.
But that's not on a worldwide sense, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Because when we think about AI, we have to think about the internet, right? And we have to when we think about the internet, we have to think about the world, right? Because that's how the internet was sold to us, you guys. So when you think about AI and you think about internet and you think about what makes the internet powerful, is because the internet is a place where we can create conversations. And those conversations challenge the elephant in the room, which is the government, religion, the institutions, everything that we've ever been taught. Okay? So that's why the internet was popular to begin with. Is because it was sold to us to be a library, to be a meeting place, to be a worldwide education hub, to be a place where we could forget about colors and ages and everything else. We could all come together, and it was going to be a place where we all, shared information and joined forces and united, and we could have conversations in one room and put all this history and put all this science to test. But we didn't come here for that. Instead, we came here for the hokey pokey, Chicago drill, your Maury Povich style, Jerry Springer style, meme style metal. We could be here making music. We could be here learning violin. We're not sharing violin. We're not sharing how to climb mountains. We're not picking each other up. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, there was a time when the internet was when Silicon Valley, when it was the wild, wild west, and Silicon Valley had a dream for the modern day internet. It wasn't a fucking super mall. It wasn't a place where people argued about their body parts like cavemen and talked about the color of their melanin and the color of their. Because you know how it is. If we were all the same color, we'd just argue about eye shape. And if it wasn't eye shape, you'd say my hair's curly. You're the low voice and I'm the high voice. You're the skinny guy and I'm the big guy. You're the over there and I'm the over here. You're the in and I'm the out.
It's
The thing is, okay, so what was imagined and what was sold to us in terms of the original internet is not what it is today. And that's based on behaviors and catering to the fans of the internet. The problem is the fans of the internet are like the fans of the casino. They're just trying to strike rich. If they only represent the smallest amount of people. Like the rich, like the creators, like the inventors, like the musicians, like the rock and roll world. They only represent the Ozzy, the Corey Taylor, the Sharon Osbourne. Those people only represent the smallest amount of rock and roll. But those are the people you hear about every day. When you Google rock and roll, when you Google 100 rock and roll, when you Google the newest 300 metal bands. You're not going to find them. There is no website for this. When you type in New Hampshire heavy metal, you might not find us. That's because the people that are responsible for the output of information are the smallest amount of people on or responsible for publishing the shit.
so
The people that are in independent rock on Facebook are the fucking smallest amount of people that are responsible for that output on Facebook. Do you get what I'm saying? And on Facebook, the people that are on Facebook are not people who listen to rock and roll.
I understand what you're saying. I do have a question.
What?
Maybe I'm using the word AI too loosely because
Everybody, well, that's what we're here to talk about. Because when we talk about AI, we're talking about it in the way we talk about metaverse. We're talking about it.
I don't know too much about.
And we can't talk about any of it, John, until we talk about the internet. Until we talk about the lowest amount of people that are responsible for the output on the internet.
It also took the birth of internet for someone to come up with the idea of it being a machine,
Right.
as a human.
When the internet, especially with neutrality, when the United States cable companies bought the fucking internet, Roadrunner, Comcast, when they became responsible for this, the cable, the TV took over the internet, John. They sold it.
Yeah.
Now, just like TV, commercials and economics and buying, not conspiracies and rock and roll, not the end of the world, not doomsday, not 9/11. No, buying and selling shit on Sheen, motherfuckers. That's it.
Yeah, I was looking up the definition.
That's it. The super weapon has become the super mall. Okay. And what makes them all go round? What makes cable TV go round and round? When people watch cable TV, is there more time for television and art, or commercials?
Commercials.
Right, because what we're dealing with is waterways, and what we're dealing with is projects and products, buying and selling.
Ad space is
right,
running
and advertising space.
I looked up the definition.
And the advertising space for all of us is limited.
That's why it's always in your face.
Right, right. That's why it's so
limited.
aggressive.
Because I tried looking up the definition for AI, and I found it just came up as artificial intelligence. Because I'm like, what is it? And then it was a machine, so I thought it was just something that did something
It's
like a
like-
Photoshop type thing. So
Can I?
That's
don't know
like when
what it
people
is.
say the word algorithm. That's like when people start talking about shit like Bitcoin and crypto. There are people that have a strong grasp of what that is. You know what I mean? And that's why I said those people represent
That's
the
fine.
smallest amount of people that come on, bro. Look at bands, bro.
Yeah.
The people that understand what the fuck is going on in the music industry are the smallest amount of people that are responsible for the output of what happens in the music industry. Most of the content is data mined by a handful of the largest companies in the world. In our case, Spotify, iTunes, our record label, blah, 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 blah. It's not hundreds of thousands of people that are doing that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So coming out of technology that was designed to be a weapon and made into a mall and sold off and is dominated by ads, the entire internet, the internet that we know is not a world wide web.
No, it's just buying
It's
stuff.
just a place where there's storefronts, man. It's just
They're
storefronts
so
and
limited.
advertising.
Because they're so limited.
There's not these live. You want to get some information? Go to a fucking library because honestly, you're gonna find more ads on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And advertise. There's two types of people that are on social media.
Buyers
There's
and
people.
sellers.
Well, buyers and sellers, sure, but people that understand what social media was and people that understand what media is, because there's no more social.
Still.
You're not pushed. We're not pushed to do social things.
Nope.
We are, however, pushed to make reels and media, and everybody's pushed to call themselves. It's not that people wake up and go, "I'm a DJ." No, man, they've been advertised that they're a rock star, bro. It's part of the game. It's part of the rock star starter kit. You go on Spotify, you get yourself a little blue check like you could on Facebook, makes you feel like you did something. Let me just looking at Spotify, because Spotify uses a lot of AI style rendering. Okay, that's how, because they're a data mine. They take a bunch of data and cookies. When they render that end of the year Spotify wrap up, that is rendered through their artificial intelligence
Okay.
data gathering programs. So when people are like, "Oh, I hate AI," I'm like, "Oh, really? You were just showing off that Spotify end of the year wrap up, where it takes all the information from all your customers and their cookies, and it looks at all their lives and their buying and their spending and their workout habits and everything else, and it compiles information about them, and then you post it and promote for them on your fucking website that you worked so hard to build on your own."
Noted. Okay.
And from
That's
that
all.
output,
It's just a
that's how
quick.
they
It's
give
just a
you
quick.
that.
Yeah. It's just tricking you in to do the commercial for them.
Okay. Good to know.
It is good to know, but to understand
that's
what
just
we're
a
doing on the
small
internet, and this is
scale.
why I had this conversation with you in the beginning about the professional climb. You should go rewind this whole motherfucker, because this is what, we can't even break this open or unpack this until you understand what we're doing it. We're on the fucking internet, doing it now. So when people are like, "Oh, I don't know about crypto," the fuck you don't. What do you think stars are?
That's crypto. For those of you that don't know,
You know-
that's a form of crypto.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do the Elon thing, but when we think in terms of AI and we think of like Neuralink and we think of like technology and going to space and we think of all this shit and we think about, failing solar panels. But we could definitely talk about AI in terms of this person because you have to look at like Twitter, for instance, and the fact that social media is a great conduit, as I discussed. It's a good pipeline. It's even he said so himself. He said it's an untapped town square, a meeting place. And a meeting place is a lot like Wall Street. It's a place where people do business. A square is a place where people do business. So when you think about what he's famous for, really, it's not for much, but it is for making PayPal. Because PayPal was originally designed to challenge the bank, like crypto. So when you think of AI, you have to think of the original internet and what the original internet was designed to do. And where Silicon Valley and the Wild Wild West made a big mistake because somebody got fucking greedy and started selling that goddamn code, Johnny. And when they sold the code, you know what I'm saying, the government need the documents, and they need to take a look at it. And when the banks get involved, and the taxes get involved, and the IRS get involved, and false information get involved, and you know what I'm saying, and big names and people get involved, and celebrities get involved. Okay, and then people have to be forced over to show their work. Show me that you're doing well. Show me your receipts. I want to see the ledgers that you're doing this right, because you have a lot of power. You need, in order to have that type of pipeline, is a powerful thing. When the news organizations have to ask your permission, when the rock and roll bands have to ask the permission of Facebook to be seen by their fans, they take place of the record labels, John. That's why we could tell the record labels to go fuck themselves. And that's why I do it every day right here on the page. There's a reason why I do it. Because this company aligned with tech companies, not rock and roll. Fuck rock and roll. Rock and roll told us to fuck ourselves a long time ago.
Yeah.
So when people talk terribly about AI, I hope I'm not changing anybody's mind, because we really haven't heard what anybody else has had to say, because we haven't really looked at AI. But in terms of AI, I don't fear it. Because that'd be like fearing having a camera on every corner. So 20 years ago, we were all in fear about having a cell phone in our houses. And, you know, there was all type of fear about how samplers and drum machines were going to take over drummers. And last time I checked, the drum kit didn't get rid of symphonies.
I see what you're saying.
The drum kit is an example of modern day technology. The drum kit is an American instrument. It's a westernized, it was perfected. Right here. Rock and roll was born here. Out of the transatlantic. From gospel music and country. But prior to that, percussionists, there were many people. You had a guy to play the bass drum. You had a guy to play this, a guy to play that. You needed too many motherfuckers. It's like today in the modern day looper. And bands that are on social media say, I'm a band. No, you're one person with, a machine. And you're really talented. But you know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. You're not a symphony. You're a four-piece. You're a trio. So what they did is they took some of the best parts of the drums, the best cymbals, the bass drum, the snare. They changed the marching snare a little bit. They condensed it down. They made it so one guy could sit at it. It's the modern day looper. All that means is that they couldn't keep band members. Well, you guys know that. You guys are in a six-piece band. How many six-piece bands are in New England? Name them. I'll be here. We'll be here for a while.
You guys are the only ones I can come up with.
They ain't gonna find, because six-piece bands, you have to get along with each other. You can't. There's no technology that can do that for you. Mm-hmm. The only thing we can do is fire a couple guys and get a looper. So the modern day drum kit. The point is, the modern day drum kit.
Timestamp.
Yeah, for real. The modern day looper, the modern day drum kit are the same people. The drum kit represents an earlier version of the one-man band. They just got rid of a couple dudes. They said, man, you guys got bad attitudes. Let's make this 4 people. See ya. It just means people couldn't get along with each other. You know, when people, if you try to make a 6-piece band, you can't get one. It's probably because you're bad at making friends. People wonder all the time how we're able to have the band. I was like, oh, man, it's because we like each other. People like, motherfuckers like you guys? I said, yeah, no, we like each other.
Yeah.
Why do you think we never can when people don't like each other? Like when people say online and people are like, oh, I don't like you guys. That's why we're never upset, because we like each other.
We're gonna making friends.
That's right. Right. So I mean, but the modern day drum kit is a fantastic example of a piece of technology that we all feared.
During the 1840s, drummers in marching bands, as well as musical theater companies in Europe and America, would use a variety of individual hand percussion instruments. In order to cover more roles, by about the 1860s, bands started to experiment with multiple percussion instruments, combining them into what was known as a trap set.
Oh, my God.
That's why I said it. That's why.
Wow.
This is mind blowing.
Timestamp.
Yeah.
Let's see.
For
That's
the
what I
first
mean,
time
like,
ever
wow,
on the
that's
Honeycomb Hideout, the
So
mind has been
mind
so
blown.
bro is absolutely right. They did it. They created a drum kit.
I wasn't gonna start shooting out like
No,
dates because I just know loosely.
Yeah, no, you're right. You absolutely right. You
I
hit it on the head.
studied music my whole life. You know,
You hit it
it's
right
the
on
only
the
thing
head.
I've ever done. I don't remember all times and dates and everything all the time, so forgive me for that. But that's so and of course, the drum kit is a piece of technology, guys. And at one time that was modern. That was just as modern as the head rush.
Yeah.
It's just we don't think of it like that. The cell phone. Remember how amazing, no, they weren't really amazing. Actually, they weren't at all. But they were still cool. And
Because it was new, everyone thought it was amazing.
right. And
we weren't
that,
desensitized.
right. And
to
at that
it.
time, there was only a very small amount of companies that were, responsible for the output of what happened in mobile phones.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happened with cable. And it's in rock and roll. And it's in rap music. And it's so when we think of our band and our company without mobile devices, without going live, without social media, without being able to DAW music digitally, without us being able to have head rushes, we would not be the Sepsiss we are today. It would be fucking impossible for us to manage ourselves as a six-piece band. We'd fall apart. So that is just how much myself as the creative coordinator, how much I depend on this technology. And you wouldn't know, and that's why I said it earlier, I wasn't trying to be fresh. You wouldn't know if you were sitting at home in another department. You wouldn't know if you're security, you don't know that.
Yeah.
If you work in booking for us, you're not down here doing reels with me and Melissa singing all day. You're not doing that.
They have
So
their own experience.
you have your own experience, like you guys that go on the stage, y'all bust your ass, and y'all have a whole different. I like you, Joe, and Cameron, like the live lineup I've always wanted my whole life.
Thank you, man.
Do you know what I mean? But that's what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? But that's what y'all do, and no one can take that. You guys have ability that, I've never got to work with people on stage in tandem like that before, and it's not only fun, you know what I mean, but it's unique, and I think it's rewarding to the people that understand our mission, what we're trying to do.
Honestly, it's a very spiritual moment for me.
It is. It's like it really.
It's a very
we tell
sacred
people
moment
that
for
at
me.
home all the time. Sepsiss makes music more like Native Americans, or more like tribal people, or more like more like people in the woods. Like that's really where our spirit really is. Sepsiss is our spirit animal. Everybody knows that about us.
Most
So
certainly.
we got a little bit of time. I do want to talk about first AI art, and I do mean like imagery.
Okay.
So I mean, because I mean, we could go on and on about like AI and music, and we could even wrap up with that. But there's so many parts of this band where if we talked about machines in a bad way, we should just turn them all off. Because that's what I was trying to say. Like we rely, like from the keyboards to, and this is I'm scared the hell out of you. But I know a lot of people, there's a lot of consumers and fans of art that are like, man, fuck all that shit. It's fake art, man. It's not real paint. But I'm telling you right now, you guys didn't hear those. You guys didn't know that drum kit was a sampler on the Megadeth album.
For some people,
Dude,
that's the first time they've ever heard that information.
Right.
And their
Go
jaws
look.
have
A lot of
been
people
dropped.
don't know that Megadeth used drum kits on their albums. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how harmful is it? I mean, are you upset when you found out that Keanu Reeves wasn't really dodging bullets?
No.
And that's that, so before we jump in and talk about art, remember that when you're looking at a picture, since when did art have to be real?
Especially
Isn't that
modern
I don't play
times.
video games to feel the pain. I don't play video games and stress out about my bills. I don't listen to music, and want to kill a motherfucker.
That's not why you picked up the video game. You picked up the video
to
game
leave.
to escape
Right.
what's going on.
And I know
right now.
everybody has a different version and a different vision for art and how they and how they consume or how they enjoy, a roll in the hay. I get that, man. This is all perspective, but no pun intended. When I look at a video game, I know the difference between that. I know the difference between chicken nuggets and a home cooked meal. I know the difference between cyber sex and real sex. I know the difference between cartoons and photos. And I understand that this is blending and really confusing the eye and saying, okay, well, this blends what feels like it's real versus what's synthetic. But I'm going to give you one right now. When Good Bars plays the intro music and he's playing the xylophones on his keyboard, nobody stops us mid-set and goes, hold on, Bars. He's not really playing the xylophone.
No one's ever done that.
Nobody ever looks at a drawing of Melissa Wolf and is like, oh, dude, that's not her, man. That's not really her, man. Everything's ruined. Like, it doesn't ruin the real Melissa.
No.
So I just want to start off there, like on a visual art thing. But I do want, can I say my opinion about AI art?
Yeah.
It was weird because I don't like a lot of digital art to begin with. Like, I don't like Pixar. I don't really like video game art. I don't gush over video game art. I don't play video games for graphics. I still have an Xbox One. Because I don't play video. I play video games to connect with people, and I play video games so my imagination fills in the gaps for me. Like when I'm listening to All Shall Perish or something like that, I'm trying to put myself in that mode. That's not me. But when I watch a horror movie, I know people aren't getting poked up. I know people aren't screaming for their lives. So since when did horror movies need to be real? Since when did computer-rated, generated stuff needed to be real? That had never been before. Cartoons never had to be real. Like, cartoons never had the pressure that AI art has.
Well,
your ideas?
It's funny that you say that because I looked up the definition of art, and it came up with artwork is an artifact made for the public experience, and then it also came up with the definition of evolution.
Evolutionary?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I got your back, bro.
Of works that came before.
Wow. Where did you get, where was it? No, here we go. Where's the definition? Did you get that from 24-year-old Google?
Yep.
Okay. I think that's a fair and transparent approach to it. That's the other thing is, like, this stuff is evolving too. That's what happened with the metaverse thing. And that's why I was talking to you about the original internet, because the thing is after the Wild Wild West in Silicon Valley, you know what I mean? They had to give up a lot of the info. They had to give up them books. They had to give, you know what I'm saying, to show everybody what the blueprint is. And so when you hear about people going, oh, we're heading into this metaverse thing, in a way that's combated by other corporations and groups that disagree with this idea, because it is another version of the original internet. It is a version of the internet where everything you own is yours. So right now, everything that you want to do is based, you have to go through a subscription to do it.
Yeah.
if you want to access your photos, all you got to do is them to get mad at you and they turn off your subscription. You know what I mean? Like you don't pay your subscription, then you don't get access to your music. You don't pay your subscription, then you. So we're living in a world that says you can have all,
As long as you pay
but you
for
can't
it.
own anything. Access to all, own nothing. This is the first time you're hearing this, and this is why it's going to freak you out. You're starting to understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So when you think about Elon and Twitter and this whole bit, when you hear about blockchain technology and crypto and AI and why are they doing this? They must do it because Melissa Wolf pictures on the internet, right? And Tupac, they're gonna redo Tupac's voice, right?
No.
No,
That's all to
no,
distract
no,
you.
no, 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 no. This is about ownership. And it is this, is that the people that used to honor the copyright or the trademark mean jack shit in the world of the internet. Because a trademark or a driver's license or any other ledger or a dollar bill is only as good as the place that recognizes it. So you could say, I got my driver's license in Nashua, New Hampshire. Go to Russia and see if you have your driver's license. They don't have to honor that. They don't have to honor that. You can say, hey man, I copyright. That's a copyright. Since when the fuck did thieves give a fuck about locks? That's a civilian mentality. I told you guys, I'm from state prison. Let me tell you something. Locks are for good people. They're for good people to tell each other a lie. Because thieves are raised to break locks. That's what thieves do. You ain't never talked to no thief ever in your life and say, hey, did you steal that shit? Oh, yeah, sure. Hold on a second. Let me get it for you. You ain't never asked a sexual offender in your life, hey, man, you did some sex offender stuff? Oh, yeah, it was a one-time thing. You ain't never heard nobody, never. What are you talking about? A copyright or a trademark or a bill or a mark or even life insurance is only good when it's recognized by the company that issues it. So when we're talking about why have all of this, why, what's the big thing? Why is there so much anxiety about AI to begin with? And it comes down to ownership. And the people that built and coded the original internet realized they fucked up. And now they don't own any of it anymore. And now they don't have the pipelines and they don't have the conduits or the places to have the conversation to challenge the bank. Because the only way that we can own anything and turn off the subscriptions is if we own it, is if we have our own money. AI pictures don't have really much to do with this, but in terms of the argument of who creates it and who owns it, it wouldn't matter in a world where the people that created digital data, it was blockchained and kept as a ledger of the original creator. So when you see places like Cash App, PayPal, all these smaller apps, all these apps were designed to challenge the bank. And along the line, the bank stitched it back in. So the big conundrum now is somebody draws a picture of Melissa Wolf, right? Who owns it? Now, in a world with crypto and blockchain and all this, Melissa would own it outright. Because
But because we don't have that world, she doesn't technically.
Right,
own it.
right. You don't own your music library. You can only subscribe to it. This page right here is a good example. This is our Facebook page. There's 43,000 people on here. This is not our website. We have nothing to do with this website. They could turn it off right now.
Facebook technically owns this.
But throughout the years, artists have been over here building their careers and using these careers, using these conduits and pipelines to get our, to get our messages across, right? That's why we've always had a website where a lot of artists don't have a website. The reason why we have a website is because we need an actual home. There's so many artists out here that, I mean, if the shit turned off, they'd have nowhere to go. They couldn't book a show.
But you guys still could because you guys have a home on the internet. The website
Right,
is
we
your home.
right, we have our home.
That's your own.
Right, it's like
ownership.
right, it's like filling out like the old days. You fill out an application, you got to fill out your address, you got to fill it.
It's the
So
start of
so
your
think about if you were
blockchain.
having a job as a musician or a dishwasher, you're gonna fill out a job application, not have a home. That's what a lot of musicians do. They go, I want to be a musician. Well, you don't have a home.
In modern times now, the first place to start your blockchain in modern times now on the internet is a website.
Your home. That's how we can prove that we own everything.
That's how you apply is your home address. For you to even do
There's no place to send a
anything
check to.
on the internet, you have to have a website. You have to have a home. That's your
So-
first place of ownership.
So now of course, and she makes a great point. And of course, like during like during the lockdowns and all that, there was a time when so many people came online where they had an enormous amount of data all at one time. So all the people in Silicon Valley go, oh shit, let's hurry up, let's do this metaverse thing, right? And that's why you see a lot of people like, and the people that are opposing that, what they got to do, they have to use this technology to meme it, to make it something, you know what I'm saying? Let's make fun of it. Let's do whatever we can, but let's not make it a thing that people understand. It's like the word algorithm. You start talking about algorithms, people think they're like spiders that are going to crawl up on the couch. Here comes the algorithms. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But people don't have
it's just a problem-solving term.
right. And really, it's just like relay information. So before we continue on anything with AI imagery, I want to point out that a lot of people that are looking at AI imagery right now are not looking at AI. When we look up, you've been seeing those pictures flashing across the screen of Melissa throughout the program. The first thing that I thought when I saw AI imagery in the beginning was how unorganic it was. So for a guy that grew up, I love graffiti, drawing on train cars and brick walls. It's almost like those textures, those real life, real world textures need to be a part of my art for me to appreciate it still. That's why I still love guitars. You know what I mean? I love digital art too. You know what I'm saying? Like I have appreciation for Pixar. I have appreciation. You guys know I'm big on video games and Halo and everything else in between. A healthy thing for me has been like real organic stuff mixed with CGI. But let's not fuck up, CGI, computer generated stuff. Okay? And then confuse AI. Because some of the stuff we're talking about, people are looking at these images or pictures on Facebook and they're going, this is AI. AI is so ugly, or I hate AI, or AI art is coming to kill everybody, or AI art is going to kill the painters.
Can I say something about that real fast?
Sure.
I think the reason why people will say that automatically is because it's fear-based, because they don't understand it, and I'm included in one of those groups of people.
I think we all. I think that's fair.
So immediately, we don't like it until we understand it.
Well, that's why I'm clearing up a lot of this stuff, man. That's why I'm clearing up. So what you're seeing, what you think you're seeing a lot of times is not AI. That imagery that you're seeing may not be AI. And there's another thing that I want to point out. There's no way that you can look at it and tell that. Remember when the pencil sketch filter came out? It was probably 5 years ago for you, whatever the fuck it is. Oh. It's a pencil sketch thing. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
You take a picture of somebody's face, you hit the fucking sketch pad, it's a filter, and it makes you look like somebody sketched your portrait with a pencil. Mm-hmm. Bars, you know what I'm talking about? Johnny has no fucking clue. Okay. So good. I need to work with somebody here. The thing is like when that came out, I remember like a lot of my artist friends being like, dude, that shit looks fucking real, man. It's gonna fucking end pencils. And I was like, well, it's not gonna end pencils because it's not a pencil. You know what I mean? Like drum machines have not gotten rid of drum kits.
People still want a drum
People
kit.
love the fucking drums. And they're like, here's another thing. I own a beautiful $5,000 custom 100-watt orange amplifier. Nothing beats it. And I own a 7-pound head rush module. And it does the workload of that entire huge fucking box. That huge piece of fucking furniture. It weighs 130 pounds to bring in the venue. Is it the same? No. Are they compatible, or can they compete with each other? In the sense of playing at a venue and people having a good time, they don't cancel each other out. You know that because we use them on stage.
Yes.
Your back feels better. You have an easier night. So we're talking about the luxury, and we're talking about now. Did people make those pencil sketch filters, and did people stop sketching?
No.
No. And pencil sketching renders are not AI. That's just a filter, man. Like some of these, there's a lot of people making money on this whole AI panic. Just like they did the metaverse panic.
They're
Everything
just
was meta at
making
that time.
you desensitized to the word.
Right. It's like saying the word algorithm. Now the average person shopping for dog food is worried about the algorithm. You know what I mean? It's like, don't
As if
worry,
they
you're
know
still
what
going to
it
get dog
is.
food. You know what I mean? Like, it's all
Right.
good. So, you know what I mean? So, in this sense, Megadeth has been sampling drum machines, and playing the music, and we've been listening to that for years, and we never even knew about it until recently. And it hasn't got rid of drum kits. And most people that are looking at computer-generated renders don't know the difference and can't tell the difference between drum kits, fake kits, real kits. How many times have you seen people stop our set and say, Bars isn't playing the real xylophone?
Never heard it.
Because people don't give a shit. Not people that are coming to have a good time and see something cool are looking to see something cool. The first thing I noticed about AI art, which was delivered to me as AI rendered art, to me these are Photoshop actions. I still don't fully. I still don't fully understand, when that becomes AI. I mean, if you say AI and it thinks on its own, and you train a machine to go, well, people are unsatisfactory, people are not qualified, people are angry, people are ill-equipped, people don't like people need to be improved, get rid of people. I mean, I think that's the big anxiety around it, is that if you train a robot that human beings are inadequate, if you train a free thinking program, if you start off and go, hey, just to let you know, we're not good at doing things on our own, and we're unsatisfactory with life. I think that's where the threat of the technology, of people being anxious about it.
And also, AI art is technically the same as making digital art, in the sense that you're using a machine in order to make it.
You've seen this.
In order
You've
to
seen this rendered
trace-
art. Do you like it better than oil painting?
No. And honestly, too, like, if you were to put up a picture of digital art up against AI art and ask someone to answer which one's AI and which one's digital, you won't be able to tell the difference. It's basically the same thing.
I didn't think any of it was strikingly beautiful at all until I seen a picture of my girlfriend, and I was like, oh,
All AI,
that's kind of creepy and cool.
all this quote unquote AI digital rendered picture art is just a machine taking similar pictures of the original photo,
Right.
and
somebody's
putting
like, oh no,
together,
it's going to steal.
using their data,
it's-
using their resources, using that mining and that computer
Johnny,
to generate that photo.
We went forward, and me and the girls, all sat down and we searched out and we started listening to artificial intelligence music. I just want to say it wasn't bad, but it wasn't competitively satisfying. Like there's not. So I think that the fear is like all these robots are gonna come out and fuck your girlfriend. But like we're listening to this music and it's not
appealing.
It really wasn't as appealing. It wasn't as threatening as you might think.
And you could tell that it wasn't made by a person.
And I still like pictures of my real girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like looking at pictures of an AI digitally rendered Melissa did not encourage me to
it added even more
to care
value
about
to
that.
looking at her in person.
It really does. I gotta say, it really does. And CGI, since movies and Hollywood has been, I still love makeup. I still love a great storyline.
They still use it.
I still love set pieces. I still love wardrobe. Look at us as a band. Look at how much we fought using technology on the stage and how much we embrace it in the studio. You don't think that's a little ironic?
No way I could ever.
It definitely is.
That's really ironic. You know what I mean?
No
People
way I could ever replace that experience.
You know, we use a lot more technology than anybody would ever use backtracks. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ever hear people that are like, oh, no, I don't like backtracks or I don't like this or that. We may not use that particular technology, but you know what I'm saying? But the amount of technology that we use is just different.
Yeah. It's just it's similar from how much we use technology in comparison to how much a backing track uses technology, but it's completely different.
Yeah, in terms of like MIDI or like clocking or something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think? It doesn't seem so bad now, does it? I was all like armed to the teeth last week the more I thought about it, I kind of gained a lot less fear about AI, and I started to think about it more like we look at Toy Story and art then. And then and also like the more we go, the further we go into the world of technology, it doesn't look like we're turning back. You know what I mean? And the further we go,
No, it's definitely here to stay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I don't feel like we, you know, looking back at the fear of cell phones, or like in the beginning of this program, we talked about how scary it was, remember, to have cameras on every corner. And I just bring that up because I know we're all in the same generation where we heard that fear. Oh, no, you know, you might remember when the buildings fell down and everything. Oh, now there's going to be a camera on every building. That was the big worry, remember?
Yeah.
And now that's what everybody wants.
Ironic.
It's crazy how we switched our mindsets once they realized how much of a resource having a camera
When we get on stage, usually the sound guy is always every time we get up there, the sound guy goes, they say the same thing to me. No laptops, no computers. And I go, no, we're just getting up. They go, oh, you guys, and we start plugging in amps, and they go, you guys are old school. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that. We don't know you, and that's what means you're old. You don't even know.
And just a couple years ago, they would never have said that.
That came out of nowhere. I'm from the old heavy metal days when you didn't get up there without a 12-pack of beer. It was a different heavy metal when we started this shit. Mm-hmm. You know. So that's it, man. I mean, shit. Mm-hmm. That was the most easy live cast we've ever had. I thought we were going to have some screaming or something. Do you have anything to add? What do you think about the crime, of this? Like, in the future, how will they do this? Will they do like visual crime, visual punishment? Will they have like digital crime, digital punishment? Physical crime, physical punishment?
So
what do you think about that, Bars? It's crazy, right?
I think that for you talking about the punishment part?
No, I'm just thinking about it just to myself. This whole thing is all about this, okay? Let's face it. I got to go because I have to see him. The whole thing is this. Why do we have this stuff, right?
Yeah.
The reason, why would we even consider AI?
Yeah.
Right? Because a doctor can't hold his hand steady.
Yes.
Do you understand what I just said?
Yeah, definitely.
Why do we consider AI? Why are the inventors of the world, the biggest company? Don't say you don't like it, because it's in the biggest, most. It's in Tesla. It's all the biggest
it's all
growing.
around.
Because there's human error.
What'd you say?
Because there's human error.
So we're considering AI because some of us are finally ready to admit that we don't have a steady hand.
Yes. Yes.
Because we live, and this is what the original people and coders of the internet knew.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is why you hear about the Great Reset. That's why we call, see that? It says the hard rock, heavy metal reset. You know where that comes from? The Great Reset,
The real reset.
which is on the internet, which is happening right now.
Yep.
Before your very eyes.
And we're part of it. We're all part of it. And it's a part where we're all figuring out how to not change over to a subscription-based lifestyle, and how we can hold on to our photo albums, how we can keep our music and get paid correctly and fairly for it. It's a place where we're arguing about right now, where we can keep our receipts or they can change them. So that's why this is important, because there's an opportunity. I'm not saying for or against. I'm just saying that there's an opportunity. The reason why, Lexi's right, the reason why we did this is because we've realized that we live in a society where we hire, and it is supposed to be run by managers. But those managers,
Are faulty.
right.
Are not
So,
qualified.
so we live in a society that is run on managers, but we hire managers that aren't qualified. So
We're building a mission.
we're saying the machines can without human error, we will start hiring people who are qualified instead of people that look like us.
Something that can have a steady hand and do an
You
art
right, you
art
hire the doctor with a
operation.
steady hand. You don't hire the doctor that looks like you, that you grew up with. You hire the guy that can play the violin. You don't hire the guy that's pretending to. You pay the rock and roll band that gets on stage and plays the song. You don't hire the one that pretends to be one on social media. You hire the fucking painter. That's why this is important.
You hire something that's real, not something that's a lie.
It's so we can set value and so we can keep track of it.
The Great Reset.
The problem is if we go right now and we say, record label, you got to give us, where's our royalties? They're in charge of moving around and turning the pages. But and this is why people love Bitcoin, and this is why people love this is why people love this sort of thing, because there's not a bank, there's not a person in between you and your money.
There's no middlemen anymore.
There's no middleman.
You're
There's
getting
just you
rid
and your
of it.
money. It's just you and your art.
It's you and your fans. There's no extra
Right now,
person
that's
in
why
between you.
that's why I told you in the beginning of this conversation why it's so important for you and the other staff members that are in Sepsiss to understand this, that this is what we've all known this entire time. Because we've been making a living doing it. This is the only, rock and roll never wanted anything to do with us. There's never been a music industry for us, because that's represented by the smallest people that are responsible for the output. And by us having this conduit, these tech companies have given us the power to challenge those big companies and to make music right alongside them. So it doesn't matter if we come out in Loudwire. It doesn't matter if MTV thinks about us. It doesn't matter if we have a record deal or not. We have a record deal. Fuck you, record company. There's nothing they can do about it. Because we've been set free. It doesn't matter what they're doing. They have to abide by, and when we do make deals, when we do make splits, that's a machine that does that. That's so we can stop getting ripped off. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to be learned by ledgers and receipts and authenticity and what the future of the internet holds. Yo, till next time. Yo, we right there on the money, too. We can't even take no calls, yo. I love y'all so much for being here. I want to say thank you for everybody for understanding what this mission is about. And for the people that spend so much time with us here, whether it be bits, cheering for us, and helping me and Melissa with the stars and the donations. And you guys working hard with us. Bless you. You guys that are working hard and understand how important it is for us to be here. You guys know that the record industry don't want nothing to do with bands like us. We'll never have a shot. That climbing that mountain will never happen for us if it wasn't for us getting rid of the middleman. You guys have helped us do that by commenting, by sharing, by going on there, and you tell. We don't have to go to a record label and say, do people want us to play? Where should we go play? What should we do? We don't have to go through managers to ask permission to have conversations with you. We don't have to go pay people to have meet and greets. You guys can call us. You guys can talk to us as you want to. You guys can send us messages without going through nobody. And that was created right here with this technology.
Thank you to the technology